Hey YouTube, it's your boy Witchy here, coming at you with some more Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and we have the PUP, the Public Update Preview for April, and it is Spain's turn to get all new cards, a slight rework, and I've got to say guys, this is kind of a strange one because I'm not too sure whether this is actually an overall nerf or a buff to the civilization, or whether or not it's just going to change the way sort of Spain works. I've been looking at a few of the responses on this forum and also through Discord and everywhere else. So let's have a look at it for ourselves and hopefully we can try and make some sort of decision. So without further ado, let's get into this. So this is a post on the ESOC forum. I will link it down below, and it is from Elite Rifleman, and it's saying with today's launch of the public update preview, basically it's saying we're looking at early hands, look at the work being done for the upcoming updates, and let's just go through it. Now, before I do, there isn't really any mention of a new civilization, which is disappointing. I thought that it would be happening in April. I don't know whether it still is because this is just the public update preview. So things do change from this to the actual release. But I haven't heard anything on the grapevine yet. So I don't know. Who knows? So let's get into it anyway. So we start with the game part, the stability and performance. Not going to touch too much upon all of this, but let's just have a quick run through. So they added some asset preloading improvements, allowing the game to use extra memory and loading times to increase stability. That's really good because after a time of playing the game, a lot of people actually have to restart the game to improve its memory because there's memory leaks and stuff like that. So hopefully that will improve. Added checks to help prevent crashes caused by UI mods, and fixed a rare desync issue. Okay, nothing huge. Looking at the UI as well, hopefully they're going to fix the whole flag system. Game rules are now displayed. Improved display of game rules, relocating the expanded minimap button so that it won't clash with other UI. Improved the minimap UI behavior. Fixed height issue in the player summary menu when where players were getting cut off. British HC card siege archery no longer incorrectly displays, it affects rangers. Okay, so there doesn't seem to be anything huge there on the UI front. I don't know whether or not they're gonna... Okay, scenario editor. Free camera mode now allows to zoom out as far as before. This was incorrectly affected by photo mode. I'm still having issues with photo mode, not gonna lie. For some reason, the elevation thing on the photo mode doesn't really work. I just want to have full range. Let me zoom in to the nth degree on the map. Let me zoom out as far as I pretty much can. I still feel like there's sort of restrictions with the photo mode, and 9 times out of 10 you can probably just do it without the photo mode, so I don't really understand whether or not they can maybe try and adjust that and update that. That would be really good. Settings, hotkey bindings added for flare type menu. Hotkey for select flare type is bound by default to the control mouse 2. And this resolves the previous conflict. Oh, okay, that's thank God. Yeah, because there was always this conflict with alt right click. And a lot of people use the alt key to display health bars temporarily for herding and stuff like that. So now changing this really helps so you don't have that annoying flare system coming up and popping up on your screen. Mods, home city files, tactic files can now be additively modded. As an example, the British home city file can be additively modded with home city British mods. Okay, so that's just all for the modding stuff. Let's get down to the juicy bits. So Sieve Balance. So general culverin is adjusted as follows. So it now inflicts 2 times damage to buildings and inflicts double damage to Gatling camels, down from quadruple there from 4 times. That's kind of crazy actually, that culverins now do damage to buildings, like, you know, quite significant damage to buildings. That's really buffing the culverin play, and that's going to really help Euro civs a lot that have culverins. So that's kind of crazy. I don't know why they needed that or decided to do that. The Akan cocoa beans now improves cherry orchard gather rates by 10% down from 30. Okay. And let's move on to the Civ in the spotlight, Spain. So here we go. So you can see there's all new cards. Let's look at the first thing, the units and buildings, the missionary. Missionary is that little unit on the donkey that basically will provide an aura for HP regeneration. So the population cost has been removed, but there is a build limit of 10 still remains. Okay, so that's essentially a buff overall, I guess, to Spain. You don't have to build houses to actually be able to create the unit. Let's look at the cards. So the first one is the Unction. That's been moved to age 1. No longer ships a missionary, or no longer improves artillery or ships, or a damage improvement is reduced. Wow, okay, so that's quite a big nerf there to the missionaries. However, the aura range has been increased. So the range ring adjusted accordingly. Max improvement is now 28% attack, down from 55.3. That is actually very, that's huge. That is very significant. I used to remember seeing the Unction play quite a lot. To be honest, I don't normally see it that much when I do play against Spain. I don't know if it is still a viable thing to do. I'm probably sure that it is, but that is quite a significant nerf there to the missionaries. And next we look at Spanish gold. So a reduction from 350 to 300. That is significant. That is more than a 10% reduction. That's you're talking like around 15%, just at the top of my head. Reduction there from 350 to 300. And Spanish gold is a crucial card. If you go for the classic sort of Spanish FF, you get the Spanish gold card first. That gives you 350 gold every other shipment after that. And it's a really cool mechanic. And that's one of the founding cards that you use when you do a fast fortress sort of play. So that is quite a significant nerf again for Spain. We have Armada. Now also enables different warships to train certain military units. I'm not entirely sure of that card, so I can't really comment on the effectiveness of that. We do have the infinite 10 Rodeleros is now increased to 14. Okay, and also the 13 Rodeleros is now increased to 16. So improving some age 4 cards there, and that's quite significant. You know, infinite 10 Rodeleros bumped to 14. That's pretty darn significant. That's like a 40% increase right there. That's kind of crazy. Moving on, we've got some new cards, guys. Let's have a look at these new cards. We got infinite 7 Lancers, replaces the current 7 Lancers and 6 Lancer shipments. That's absolutely mental. Now, yeah, that is a pretty significant buff there for Spain. Having that infinite 7 Lancer card, that's probably going to be something that you're going to want to have in your age 4 deck, especially if you're planning to maybe go an FI, or there's a high chance you're going to be going age 4. The infinite 7 Lancer card, that seems like a big one. That's quite significant. Got a couple of new team cards here. Let's have a look at the first one. So team card, you get 1 Falconet, and it costs 200 coin. Everyone gets a Falconet, simple shipment of a Falconet to the entire team. I don't know if that's actually really that good. I mean, I guess it's helpful in a 3v3 and a 4v4. You get more value from it. But in a 2v2, which is the most sort of common team games that are played, I don't know if that's really going to be that useful, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at the next cards. We've got a heavy cannon. This is in age 4. It's 500 coin that it costs. And it's just, once again, a heavy cannon to the entire team. And sort of the same comment really to the previous one. I think that anything more than a 2v2 would probably be maybe advantageous. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a little bit gimmicky, those cards. I don't know how much of an effect they're really going to have. Let's have a look at the next one. Sorry, the Marvelous Year. So settlers train and work significantly faster for 365 seconds. How interesting. I love that. You know, 365 days in a year. And we've got a second for every day there. So a Marvelous Year. Viva España. Fantastic. And what does it say here? It says current training time improvement reduction of 27.5% and a gathering speed improvement of 20%. Is that good? I mean, I think the training time's very good. I imagine if you have 2 or 3 TCs, that would be pretty darn good for 365 seconds. I mean, that is... What is that? That's like just over 5 minutes. That's a lot of time. If you want to go for like a big boom, you could do the Marvelous Year. You could go 1,000 wood, then Marvelous Year maybe. Maybe try and get another 2 TCs. Not entirely sure. Not too sure about that one, to be honest. The 20% gather speed is pretty big. I'd have to see. Let's look at the next card. House of Trastamaria. I think my Spanish is terrible, guys, if you don't know. Anyway, this arrives fast. Your next age up is cheaper and faster the more shipments you have received in your current age. Okay, all right, for each card that arrived after the last completed age up. So the next age up is improved by 8.5%, and it's reduced by 100 resources every single time you get a card in your current age. That is kind of interesting. That could be pretty darn good for like an age 2 play. If you stay in an age long and you're using a lot of cards, this card is going to be quite a good one. As I say, it is an age 2 card, so you could get it as your first age 2 card maybe, and then you could do some sort of just wild age 2 play with Spain, and that will slowly rack up and make your age 3 even cheaper. Not entirely sure. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to change the sort of play style of Spain and ways of playing them. I get where they're coming from, but once again, without knowing, without testing and practicing, it's kind of hard to say how effective that card is really going to be. It's quite similar to some of the Aztec cards that you have that change the speed of aging up and stuff like that. So I like that they're trying to improve the variety of cards and the mechanics of them, which is nice to see. But just don't know how effective it's really going to be. So let's look at another one here. Peninsula Guerrillas in Age 4. So improves ranged infantry attack and enables them to see the location of enemies they've recently damaged. Once again, that is a whole new mechanic. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of mechanic in a unit or a card in the game. Damage improvement is 25%. Jesus. And the revealer has 24 line of sight and lasts 3 seconds. Okay, so it is a cooldown. It's not forever. So it's like sort of like a flare essentially. You shoot, if you hit a target, there's like a flare for 3 seconds. You can see what they do. But a 25% improvement on ranged infantry attack. That's pretty darn good. I don't know whether that's going to be really good for treaty games and stuff like that, but interesting to see. Okay, so another new card here. We have, is that Viceroyalty or Viceroyalty of New Spain? So this actually ships 2 Hacienda wagons. Right, okay. So we're actually merging a bit of Spain into, sorry, a bit of Mexico into Spain. How weird. Ships 2 haciendas that can transform into haciendas, of course, which settlers may gather from or help spawn cows, settlers, or powerful soldados. Right, okay. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Bringing something from a new Civ from Mexico and pretty much moving it into Spain. I'm not too sure whether that's a right move to do. I think it sort of starts to water down Spain's identity as a Civ. It's kind of a strange one. Let's look at the next one. Reconquista. Ships 1 Conquista for each 5 archaic infantry you have lost. All hand infantry and foot archers are archaic infantry. Okay, up to a maximum of 10. I guess that's quite good. As I say, if you want to go for an age 2 play, you want to go for maybe an archaic play, which you don't normally see. I don't normally see that much anymore. Maybe that's going to bring that style back. You can get this Reconquista card, and you can get quite a lot of conquistadors. Not entirely sure, but an interesting card of that. Let's have a look at the next one, an age 3 card here, Liberation March. All infantry and cavalry train and move faster. This card replaces fencing school and riding school. That's quite a good card. I think that could definitely be used. Doesn't actually say what the stats of it are, or whether it actually, if that is merging both fencing school and riding school and there's no changes, then that is a pretty significant buff there for Spain with the Liberation March. So look at the next one, age 4 card here for 2,000 coin. We get ships, 2 mighty battleships. So once again, another sort of battleship card. We had this with the Brits. There was the big sort of galleon ship. I can't remember what it's called. I don't honestly know how much these are actually going to be used. I mean, look at that. I mean, that if I'm right, that costs 2,000 coin. It's an age 4. It says 2,000 coin, and there's an infinite 1 battleship there for 1,000 coin. Once again, I don't know the stats of these mighty battleships, but yeah, that's I'm not too sure if that's going to be used that much, to be honest. But anyway, let's have a look at the changes to the Unction card. That's the one at the start there. Intend to considerably reduce its significance in the late game, paving the way for powerful new cards and to make it less difficult to use. Okay, I see where they're going here. They're trying to get people to start using other cards like the Marvelous Year, maybe the House of Trastamara. I can't even say that in age 2. Maybe the Guerrilla card, and you've got the Hacienda card here. That's kind of a strange one. Don't know whether that's going to be used. Very interesting. So that is pretty much Spain in a nutshell there, guys. So as I say, let me know down in the comments below what you think around the Spain changes. A lot of people have been saying a buff, but then a lot of people have been saying a nerf. So it is kind of strange. I'm not too sure myself yet. Let's have a look. Random maps, map updates. So there's a few updates here. I'm not really going to touch upon these too much, but this is quite good. Ensuring players start with 2 mines near their town centre in treaty games. That's quite nice. But that is pretty much it, guys. Pretty straightforward. I'm sure there's going to be more information when the full release happens. But I hope you guys found this, you know, interesting to see what the changes are. As I say, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Whether you think this is an overall buff or a nerf to Spain, I don't know. I think overall, I think that it is a slight nerf because of the Spanish gold implement, and this card was used so much, and it was such a loved card, and it enabled Spain to be a really good FF civilization. Maybe they are trying to nerf it a little bit because of how sort of versatile and strong Spain are at the moment, so I can understand that. But I don't agree with starting to put Mexican sort of assets and buildings and things into Spain. I don't like using a new civilization, grabbing something from the new civilization and literally copy and pasting it into an older civ. I don't really like that. I don't really agree with that. I'm not a huge fan. And if we go down here, let's have a look at a couple of the comments. Elite Rifleman saying rip Spain. We've got Plutonic here saying apparently Spain needed more things in common with Mexico besides the language. Interjection always with the AOM spirit. And where's Harrison's here? I love Harrison. We've got like a meme here. Rework for Spain, devs, new civ. Yeah, no, as I say, no sort of mention at the moment of a new civilization, which is a real shame because I thought it was going to be happening in April, but who the hell knows? And there's no rework for Lakota or Howd at the moment, but I'm hoping that there will be. I'm hoping they're going to get round to it. They did it for Aztec. They did it for Inca. So Lakota and Howd, I'm hoping that they're going to rework them and see what happens. See, Unction nerf is quite big. The logistician play would also have been weakened here. And here's Harrison's one. Surprise, we didn't see dogs get a bark attack like griots. Absolutely amazing. Well, guys, that's going to leave it there. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. And of course, if you found this useful, entertaining, all that good stuff, please feel free to drop a like. And I'll catch you in the next video or the next stream. Catch you later, guys. Bye.